Hey folks, Landstryder here, and welcome to another episode of Mystical Misadventures. As you might be able to tell, we're going to get into a little bit of blood magic today, but primarily that is so that we can do some advanced integrated dynamics, manipulating items over a bunch of different conditions and some other stuff. So let's first talk about real quick about what I've done to get this far in blood magic. I figured it's important for a vampire to be good at blood magic. I mean, it just makes sense, right? So the first thing you need to do in order to get into some blood magic is you're going to need to make some of these rudimentary snares. You take those out and you find some mobs. Well, preferably some vanilla mobs. They seem to work a little bit better than some of the modded mobs. They may or may not work on modded mobs depending on what it is. But zombies are my favorite. They're nice and simple. They don't shoot at you like skeletons. And you throw these snares at them until they get that little white particle effect you see that guy has on him. You hit him, and he's going to drop... Oops. He dropped it, but it didn't actually go to my inventory because I have a Tartaric gem in my inventory already. So let's wait for another one here. What he's going to drop is he's going to drop demonic wills. And let's grab our snares out. Hopefully one of these remaining snares is going to be enough to affect one of these guys. Did not. See, now I didn't get lucky there. I got lucky on that first throw, but we didn't get very lucky on the next couple throws. Let me grab a few more of these just to make sure that we get those white particle effects on some of these guys. Alright, there's some particle effects in there. I can see them. Let's just smack these guys around a bit with my halberd. And one of them should have dropped, yeah, a couple of them dropped some demonic wills. That's actually some pretty good ones there. They've got a good amount of will in each of those. So that's pretty good. Then you're going to use those to do a couple things. First, you're going to need to craft a Hellfire Forge. That's the thing right here, the Hellfire Forge. Let's do add blood. That way we can get all of the things there. The Hellfire Forge, really not too expensive. I mean, it's kind of a block of iron. Might be considered expensive. I don't really think that's too expensive to get this thing right here. And then once you have this, you can then use that to go ahead and create some petty Tartaric gems. Now those are going to, the first couple ones, you're going to use those demonic wills, these things right here in this slot. And then you would put the ingredients in there. Now you gotta be careful to pay attention to the order of ingredients that these show up in these four slots, because they have to be the exact same in these four slots. When you put the recipe in there, it won't work, and you'll wonder why it's not going. If it doesn't go, that's probably out of order, or you don't have enough will. Because if you look here, the Tartaric gem does require one will. And it does drain one will from the demonic will that you're using in there. So keep that in mind. Now, the only other thing you're going to want to make sure that you save one of these is because it is also used to create your blood altar. And over there you did see that we had a blood altar going. So we're good all on that. Oh yeah, I wanted to dump off some of these items right here. Just a couple of these there. To keep our inventory a little bit clear here, because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff and we're going to need some empty spaces in our inventory. Now if you have a bunch of will left over, these things right here, if you have a bunch of these left over, you can always throw them on the ground, and if you have a Tartaric gem in your inventory, you can go ahead, pick them up, and they will get sucked into that Tartaric gem. Let's do the same with that one. I'm going to grab out my other demonic... try that again. There we go. So that's been added up into my Tartaric gem here. Now the sentient sword, a recipe for that is just simply another petty Tartaric gem and an iron sword. So you're going to want to make a few of these to begin with. I like to keep two around for upgrading. You use one to upgrade the other, and then you just keep doing that all the way up through the various tiers, all the way up to the Grand Tartaric gem. But you're going to need to make at least one more extra to get that sentient sword. Now, I actually made a whole bunch of them because I wanted to make sure that I got a good sword. So I was trying for archaic, but legendary is only one step down, so I'm pretty happy with that. Remember that our halberd is legendary too, and that affects that bonus damage. Now, the base damage that your sentient sword does is actually based on the level of the Tartaric gem that you carry in your inventory. So as you upgrade your Tartaric gem, the damage of your sentient sword is going to go up as well. And it's also, I don't know if it's actually based on the actual tier of the gem, more so the quality, the total amount of will that you have in that gem. Okay, so moving right along, I think that's the basics of what I did to get this far. You can see that I did make the blood altar, and I've got a little bit of blood in there right now, and I've crafted a couple of blank slates, and that was so that I could verify that all of this stuff that I've been putting together with the integrated dynamics is actually functioning. So let's start talking about that. So on the altar itself, we've got an item interface. We've also got a fluid reader, so we can read the level of fluid. We can read a bunch of different things. In fact, we can look at whether the tank's full, whether the tank's empty, whether the tank's not empty, whether it is in fact a tank, the fluid amount, the total fluid amount, so if there's multiple fluids in that tank, the fluid capacity, the total fluid capacity, in case it has two compartments, total number of tanks within that block, the fill ratio. It's actually, I'm sure there's ways to use some of these things here. Tank fluids, this will actually tell you the specific fluid and amount. Tank capacities, this is that's a list. And of course fluid, that'll tell you the type of fluid that's in there. I think also the amount, and block fluid, which will tell you just the type of fluid that's in there and not the amount. The main thing that we're interested in is just the fluid amount. We don't really care about any of the other ones. That's an integer. We're going to try to keep this fairly simple. So we're going to try just to work with numbers for the most part and Boolean values. So back here, hang on, skipping a step here. So up here we can see that we have an item frame. And you can rotate the item in an item frame, which is pretty awesome. And if you are aware, if you have a comparator facing the block that the item frame is attached to, that comparator will output a different redstone value based on the rotation of the item in the frame. We can actually see that. You can see back here I have the reader. What I'm actually reading is the redstone value right here. That is what this card is set to. You can see it says integer. If I throw it in this display panel, we can see that right now it's 8. So straight up is 8. If I rotate it 1, it's going to go down to 1. But then as I rotate it around, it's going to continue to go up 1 increment for each rotation. One number. One whole number of redstone value. So what we want to do is we actually want to set it so that we're going to be using it only on 8, 2, 4, and 6. And when it is facing straight up, that 8 value right there, we want it to know that we want those type of gems, or those type of slates. We want basic blank slates. We want it to create that. There's a couple things I wanted to make sure that it did. I wanted it to actually check the fluid level to make sure that there's enough blood in there before it moved a stone over here. And then I only wanted to move 1 stone. So we can actually check that it is doing what it is supposed to. If I can find, there we go, sacrificial dagger. I can add a little bit of blood to this and we'll see it work. You can see as soon as it had enough fluid in the tank, it moved a single stone over here. And then once that stone turns into a blank slate, it should pull it out. There it goes. Pulled it out and put it in this chest. Alright, let's go through the whole process of how this works, because it is a little more complicated than I initially thought it was going to be. But maybe not as complicated as I could have made it. You can see we've got a whole bunch of variable cards in here. Now this one right here is set to the fluid amount, the integer, basically this right here. It is, nope, wrong interface, there we go. Fluid amount, somewhere down here. There it is, this one. So we get a number, an integer there. And then right here is a variable card that we've set to 1000. I kind of need to make this go a little bit because we're going to need enough slates in order to upgrade this to a tier 2 in order to program it for the next one. So we might have to take a little cut for that, but that is set for 1000. We can probably do most of the programming except for the blank slate part and up to that. Now the next two cards, we can see we have a variable card, Boolean inventory empty. So that's this inventory reader right here, which is why I have an inventory reader there, because I wanted it to check to make sure that there was nothing in the altar before it moves anything in there. So if there's something already in the altar, it will not bring anything else in. And the way I'm doing that is by combining this. Is that greater than or equal to? No. It's an AND card. Where is that at? It's actually maybe over here. So this value right here. You can see it has Boolean 1 and Boolean 2. So first thing we're doing is we're comparing these two cards together, which has given us this value right here, 46 and 51. So that's 51 and that one's 46. So if those two things are equal or greater than or equal to 1000, so if there's at least 1000 fluid in the tank, this becomes a true value. And if there is nothing in the inventory, this also becomes a true value. So if the altar is empty, that is true right here. We can actually check any of these by placing them in the display panel, and we can see what the output is. That's why I have a display panel here. It's pretty much a debugging thing. So if I go and put anything in the altar there, you can see that now says false. But take it back out, again says true. So excellent. So it's a good way. It's good to have one of these on your system, on a complicated system like this, so you can just throw cards in there just to kind of see what the value is, to test it, make sure that you have things all set up right. Now in here is the actual thing that checks both of those together. So it is actually comparing this card right here, greater than or equal to, and this card, these two things. Actually, nope, there's even more. There's even more to it, I believe. Because we are also checking that it is a value of 8. So if I turn that over that way, and we add some blood to this. Oh, nope, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't actually set that up to that. So I guess this only is the exportation portion of it. So that would, we might need to fix that. Interesting. Okay, so maybe I don't have that set up that way, but maybe we can set it up that way. So the exportation of that is this card right here. It is actually checking variable 55 and 58 versus each other. They both have to be true. So we can look in here and we can find 55 and 58. So 55 is that one right there. Yep, there's 55 and there's 58. 55 is actually a combination of 54 and 50 and 45. Or 54 and 45. So 54. Let's bring this down here. 54 and 50 and 45. These two. So this is checking that this card. So I had to make an integer card that is set to the value of 8, and I'm checking that versus that integer card that is checking that redstone value. So if it is equal to 8, then this is true. So let's move these up and move that up. And then the other half of that is another equals rational card here, which is checking 56 and 57, which should be these two, yes, which is a slot item. And so this is actually the item that this is reading. So this reads an item, and if we pull this out and put it over here, I hope some of this is making sense, because it's not making any sense to me right now, and I just did it. It is showing us that there is currently a piece of mossy stone in there. Isn't that nice? It even puts a little picture and an amount for you, and it's kind of cool. But if we take that out, now the mossy stone is still in there, right? Mossy stone is there, and we take this variable card that I set, and I set that using the logic programmer. We're going to do all this here in a little bit to do the second tier slate, and it'll maybe it'll all come together at that point. If I put that in there, you can see that it shows blank slate. So it doesn't matter. This is a static variable right here. It's going to always be blank slate. And then those two things are being compared. So if the item that is in the slot, that is in that is in there, is equal to a blank slate, then this becomes true. So if this is set to 8 and there's a blank slate in there, then where is it? Can I get it? There we go. Then this is true. You see 55 and 58. So we want to pull that out for a second. I want to bring it over here so you can see that this is a variable 55 and this is variable 58. If those two are both true, then this one then becomes true, and at that point it pulls all items out of the altar and puts them into this chest, which there should only be one item in there at any given time if everything is set properly. Whew, that's the pulling out of the things. That's good. Okay, we don't really need to change that, but what we might want to do is set it so that when we're putting items in, that it actually checks that we are on one of these variables. 8, 6, what is it, 8, 2, 4, or 6. So we're going to need those. So what we're going to need to do is make some more variable cards. So we're going to need at least one for, so we're going to go to integer. We're going to make an integer that is just 2. We're going to make an integer that is just 4. And we're going to make one that is just 6. So these are our other integer cards that we're going to be working with. So now we've got integer cards for, in fact, there's our 8, there's our 2, our 4, and our 6. And those are going to need to go with this aspect card, this one right here. So we're going to take that, we're going to take integer 2, and we're going to make another variable that is going to be an and operator right there. Or, yeah. Nope, equal to. We need an equal to. So it's going to be down a little bit further there. There we go, equals. If this equals 2, then this variable will be true. Okay? Hopefully I haven't lost you yet. So I'm going to put that one over there, and I'm going to put this one right under it, because I know that that is for that. In fact, we're going to move these two back up this way, because that's going to be a whole other set there. So we're going to bring this one over here. So we need to do that for each one of these other ones too. So eventually we are going to need to know whether this is... Oh, I guess we actually need to get that value and that value out, because we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to need equals somewhere down through here, equals, if this redstone equals 4, we want this value to be true. So that one's the 4. And if it equals this value, that one's the 6. So that one would be true. Okay, we're using up lots of variable cards, and that is just fine. You see we have lots of space in our variable store, and we can add more variable stores to the system if we really need to. So there's our 4 values. Now I'm only going to set this up to do the 4 different types of slate because I didn't feel like the 5th type of slate had that many uses. And this altar is only going to be ever tier 4 anyway, so it wouldn't even be able to make those 5th level slates. So this is actually perfect for the 4 tiers of slate. Eventually we'll be able to do that here. Whew. Moving right along here. Hopefully I haven't I'm confused myself a little bit, so hopefully we're not too lost. Now before we can do any more, we would need to do the thing where we're going to do an ore probably. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're going to need to make the tier 2 slates before we can really continue down that line. Hopefully you can see what's going on so far here. So right now we are comparing whether or not it is in fact a blank slate, and that we are in position, and we are in the position for blank slates. So when we are in the position for blank slates, it is going to compare and say, is that a blank slate? And then if so, it can pull it out. Alright, so we're good there. In fact, I think this is actually like down below this. So this is 8, so that equals 8. And then this plus this combination of this is going to equal our output, which is this down here right now. Now we're eventually, if I can get a hold of it, right, it's like really hard to target under there. Eventually that one's going to have to come out, and it's going to have to be replaced with a big OR statement. Whew, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Now the other thing that I was thinking we need to do is we need to check that it is one of these. So if it is not one of these, we need an OR. So let's pull out all of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those. We need a big old OR statement. So somewhere down here there might be a big old OR or logical. There's NOR. Is there a big OR? Probably not. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to like combine these two. This one or this one is equal to that, right? And then this one or this one. Make sure that those are actually the different ones. 56 and 54, or 64 and 65. I mean, a little dyslexic today, and my throat's a little parched. Sorry about that, guys. So sorry about that. But now we've got these two variable cards. These ones are not actually the ones we want to use. We want to say if this one or this one is true, and then finally that one will be true. That's the one we actually want to use. So we're going to put these guys back. Hopefully these are in the right order still. 2, 3, and 4. These are completely irrelevant, but they have to be in there. Well, they're not irrelevant, and they're a step in between. And this is the one we want. So we're looking at this over here. So we got a variable card here that is these values here. It is looking at the fluid amount, and that is all thing, and inventory empty, and greater than or equal to. Okay, so these two are being compared. Inventory empty is being compared. What is it? What are we comparing here? Ah, I'm getting lost. This is the one. 50 and 52. So this is 50 and that is 52. So first we're checking that the inventory is empty. That's important. That's going to be like one of the last things we check. Inventory is empty. Now, if this one right here, greater than or equal to this value right here, this is the one we need to combine. Why do I have 2 down here? Okay. This is 50 and 52. This is the greater than or equal. This is the one that actually combines these two together. Okay. Then that is the combination of whether the inventory is empty and whether that is greater than or equal to. So inventory empty plus these ones right here, we're going to replace this. So we're going to go down here, we're going to go another and. I'm going to say the inventory needs to be empty and we need to have one of those integers to be true. And that's going to give us this one. Woo, okay. So there we go, and there we go. Yeah, that's the combination of all that. That's variable 67. Okay, so 50 and 52 is the one we need to replace. So it's going to be 52 plus this new one that we just made, 69. So 52 and 69 are actually going to replace these. We're going to come down and find and. The and operator, there we go. 52 and 69. Binary and? Why no? Did we go too far down? Yes, we did. There we go. Logical and. 52 and 69. And those are going to replace that variable right there. So that should still be the same variable. Yes, it's still variable 53, which is good. So we didn't lose a variable to the ether. We are recycling that variable. But now we can put this one back up in here, and it says currently false because there's not enough fluid in there right now. But if I move that over that way to an odd number, basically an in-between spot, and then I make sure that we have enough blood in the tank here. Let me go bite a citizen, make sure that this is working. Get my blood level back up a little bit here. Okay, there's certainly enough blood in the tank right now. And it's still false. Now if I really wanted to test it, instead of putting it right into there, I could have put it in the display panel to check it. But now, as soon as we rotate around to anything that is, yeah, there we go. That will allow it to pull the stone out. Now, it's not checking that I'm looking for a specific thing and that it's able to do that just yet. We'll get into that later. But now we can flip it down to there, and yeah, it should have put us another blank slate over here. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so now it is at least checking that it is, in fact, set to one of the things. So that way, if we have it at an angle, any of these angles, we know that the machine is, in fact, off. The whole system is off, or it won't pull out anything out of this chest. I'm probably going to replace this chest and this chest with a drawer eventually. That's going to be set into the wall, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, actually, that's probably a really good idea. Probably a really good idea. In fact, it'll probably be right there. But that'll be easy to do later on. This is easier for the debugging purposes. You can see we've got a lot of variables in here already. Okay, I don't know if I have enough slate to do it to get to the tier 2 altar yet, but one of the things that's going to help me at this point is to go ahead and make an incense altar, I think it's called. Blood magic of some sort here. Incense. Crucible thing. Incenser. There it is, right there. Incense altar, yep. But that actually means I need to do the blood orb, which I believe is a diamond in there. Pretty sure that's correct. With a little bit of stuff. If we look, the weak blood altar, yeah, it's a diamond with 2,000 blood in it. Something I could do is give a display off to the side. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea, to put another display like right on the front here with the exact amount of blood that is in the altar. That actually could be pretty cool. That could be a good thing to have, but we can just pull this variable out. Now that's going to mean that everything back there is going to not work because it needs that variable, but as soon as I put it back in the display panel, it is in the network somewhere, so the variables can actually do their work. You can see we have 600 in there right now, and I'm probably going to need to get my health back up. Here we go, 1400. Let's come out here and find another bite victim. There we go. Fill our bottle back up. And also, it also helps being a vampire because I do a little bit of regeneration. And there we go. Now we've got 2,200 in there. We can go ahead and put that in there. And it should go ahead and make us our tier 1 blood orb. Gotta wait for it. It does take a little bit of time. I don't have any acceleration or anything on this yet. But before I can actually make the runes, the blank runes, I'm gonna need to do that. And I think I'm gonna need 8. I don't know if it's just 4 to get to the tier 2 or not, or if I need the full 8 around the base of this. We'll probably just go with the full 8 to start out with. There we go. Now we got our blood orb, but we only got 8 in there, so I am going to have to go ahead and get some more blood in there. Also, we need to rotate this around so it'll start making them for us. Nope. Maybe it doesn't work when that number is over here. Interesting. Maybe this does in fact... Uh-oh, where did that just go? There it is. Let's put in the variable store, and then now it should be working. Okay, I guess it doesn't work if it's in a display panel. I thought it would, but yeah, no, it does have to be in a variable store in order for it to process it as a variable, I suppose. Pretty cool. And we're going to just keep doing this until we get our 8. The thing we need to do, though, is do this incense altar. Now that we have the orb, we can go grab some charcoal, some cobblestone, and stone, and make that up real quick. Let's grab a piece of charcoal. That should be charcoal, yes. Okay. What was the rest of it? That was pretty... I think I have the rest of it. Or have it over here anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and 2 cobblestone. That should be it. Interesting thing about the weak blood orbs and the orbs in general, all the orbs, is they will work in JEI or NEI as long as you don't bind them. Once they're bound to a mage, they won't shift click in there and they won't register as being the thing that works. This is crazy, isn't it? I guess the other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make some wooden path. Didn't even think about that, so we're going to have to make some of that real quick. Some wooden path for this to work at all. Where's our wood? Do I have much wood in here already? Well, a little bit. Probably not enough. Let's grab a bit more. And we'll do some wooden path. No? Maybe this has to be the second tier orb. Yeah, I'm thinking I have to actually have the second tier of orb for that. Okay, well, that's okay. Yeah, I'll just leave that there for now. We'll come back over there in a second. I might need to put a crafting table in here at some point, but we will go ahead and drop that right there. That should work. So now that's going to give my sacrificial dagger a little buff, a little bonus. I'm not going to be able to tell what that is until I get a little further along and make myself a rune of divination sigil and some other stuff. We'll get it maybe into more of that later, but I'm trying to focus mainly on integrated dynamics of this episode. And in order to move on, we need to get up to the next tier. So we're gonna have to come out and find another bite victim. He doesn't look like I've bit him in a while. Let's wait till our thing gets all the way back up. I feel like I heal a lot faster right after I bite something. A little bit. Those extra hearts take a while to come back regardless, it seems like. If I wait just a second, we'll get a little bit more health. And we can dump it all at once now because I got my things glowy. So now, there we go. Drops me down to 2 hearts. And that should put a bunch in there so that we can proceed. And if I just walk over here again, that's gonna get that ready to go for the next time. We can come out down here and catch a bite to eat, which will help us heal up. I want to come down here because I don't come down here too often. These guys don't get to see me nearly enough. And just heal a little bit from down here. I need to move my fisherman. I accidentally bit him like one too many times when the server was lagging, and he's now an actual vampire, so he needs to come over here, and I need to find a new fisherman for over there. So we come back in here. Do that. The other thing I want to do eventually is get a fallen canard either under this altar or floating in the air right above it someplace. I might replace that block of redstone I have up there with a mana pool. Yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, then we could have a fallen canard in here and that could drain off of that particular mana pool. So let's take a look at the number we have in there total. We just need 2 more. And then we can proceed. I think we just need 1 more now. Who haven't I bitten recently? It's a regeneration, that'll get it going. Alright, one more time. Oh, forgot to come in here first. Alright, one more time. There we go. Big bunch of blood in there. As soon as we get that last one in, we can proceed, and I can do a whole set of new programming. And I apologize, this is going a lot longer than I expected it to. And I've been babbling on. Hopefully it is at some point going to make sense. Hopefully. I know I had to really scratch my head a number of times while I was trying to put this together. I tried to do as much work as I could off camera beforehand so that I could be kind of prepared. It doesn't, now that I'm actually recording, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like I'm prepared. But oh yeah, we're going to do this number. We're going to get 10. We're not actually going to get 10. We're going to get 8 runes. Now we got the blank runes. We come back in here, and those are going to go in this circle around the altar, upgrading it to a tier 2. There we go. That should upgrade it to a tier 2. Now it doesn't upgrade its capacity or anything like that, it just allows you to craft some additional stuff. But the most important thing is we're going to rotate that so that the system is inactive. We can get a slate out of there. That's actually kind of perfect. Make sure we get as much blood in there as we can first. Hit my regeneration. Maybe I can get it all the way up. The regeneration does refresh fairly fast. That's kind of nice. It's not a particularly awesome generation, but it does have a decent duration and will allow you to regenerate some health when you're not at full blood. So there we go. Get a bunch of blood in there, and I am going to go ahead and throw that slate in there. While that's cooking, should just be fine to leave it for a second. Come back out here and grab some more to eat. And if we look, it should be turning any second now. It does take a little bit longer because I don't have any. There we go. Some runes. So now we got the reinforced slate. Okay, ooh, here's where things are going to get messy or complicated, or I don't know. Let's put everything away that we can. Done with that, and then we're going to come in here and put those away. Put this stuff away. Just get this stuff out of our inventory as much as we can. I'll pretty things up later. We got our variables. So we need to make another variable. And what's going to happen is the card that is in here right now, this card right here, is going to become part of an OR statement. So that is this one that says 55 and 58. That one is 58. And this one, where's 55? Is that the one that we have over here? Which one is 55? I don't remember. 54, 52, nope. That's 56 and 57. That's 58. This one says 55 and 58. Where's 55? Oh, there's 55 right there. So that's actually going to change. That one's going to switch from 58. In fact, that one's going to completely change because we're going to need to take this. We have our slate here somewhere. Yes, we do. Okay. We need to make a new card that is an item card. Brand new one that's going to be for our reinforced slates. There we go. Now it's reinforced slates. Now we're going to take another card and we're going to compare. So we need the equals logical operator. So if that equals reinforced slate, then this one's true. So there we go. Okay, so that, and we have reinforced slate, and then that one is true. So if that one and that one, no. See, this can't be an OR. Oh, okay, I know how this goes. Now this is right. This is right. So if that one and that one plus the 8, which is 55, this is 55, yes. So this card right here, which I'm going to need to make some more variable cards. Ah, goodness. More variable cards. I might actually end up having to put another variable store in there when it's all, before it's all said and done. So Let's grab some of that out. Variable cards. These things right here. Actually, that's pretty easy. Let's just break those down. Grab a few bits of paper. And let's do this for simplicity. And make a few more variable cards. That gives us a bunch. A whole bunch. Yeah. Stack and a half. Yeah, that actually gives you a lot of them. Because, I mean, you really do use a lot of them. You really do use a lot of them. So, it does make sense that you get so many. Okay, so let's just put this extra stack in there for now. That's my working chest over there. In fact, we probably don't need these items either right now. Okay, so let's look in here. So we need to make the card that's going to represent this one over here. So that is going to be this right here plus this right here. And this is going to be another and. So we need the and. So if this one and this one, then we get this one. Okay. Sorry for the imprecise terms here, guys, but we're just trying to get through this. So that should go back over there because that is 56 and 70. That is 70 and 56. Okay, cool. So that would go there. Let's move these all up one because we're about to go... Oh, shoot. Did that just fall on the ground someplace? Yep. There we go. So these right here... These need to become an or statement. So this is going to be an or statement so that it's and I hope you guys are following this. If you if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will do my best to answer what I've been doing here. But hopefully you can follow some of this and it will be good. You'll be able to use it somehow. So there's my or statement. So if this one or this one is equal, we're going to get this one. Cool. Now we will eventually, so those will go there. We will eventually need to make another 2 of these, so we'll have another 2 of these, which will then combine with this or statement, which will make our final one that we'll end up putting there. But right now, if I come down in here, we can put this in there, export all in, or right now it's false. That's good. Ooh, okay, so I should be able to put my slate there just to kind of for representation. Alright, sorry about that. I started to ramble. I decided I'd probably cut myself off at some point. I did eventually figure out what was going on, what was up and all that, and I got it all worked out. So let me see if I can't just lay it out for you real quick here. Come over and look in here. And you can see I got my variables arranged a little bit more neatly. Now, right now, these 2 things right here, they are testing to make sure that the greater than or equal to. So variable 46, which is the variable, the fluid amount, and then I have a couple of variable cards that I set to a couple integers right now. 1,000, 3,000. The next one will be higher yet for the imbued slate, but we're not going to get there right now. In fact, all these cards right here are currently not in use at the moment because the altar isn't tiered up enough to do that. But now we are checking these 2 values against each other, and we're also checking to see that the variable, the redstone, is set to a specific number, right? Which is the card right below here, equals. So and then right down below here, these cards are an and value. So, and they're looking at only these ones in this row. So if so this one is 50 or 75 and 55. So 75 is up here, which is checking that integer there, and 55 is right here, which is checking the redstone value. If those 2 line up and they're both true, then this one's going to be true. But it won't allow any of these other ones to be true. We got rid of that whole big OR statement. Now where we still are using an OR statement right here is we're checking if one of these two bottom values are true. Now they cannot be true at the same time because this one checks to see that this redstone value is an integer of 2 and that the fluid is a total of 3,000 or more. So it has to have, both those conditions have to be true for this one to be true. So what I was having before is, with what I was doing a little bit earlier, is I was actually having it put in the stone even if it was only above 1,000 because I had too many OR statements going on basically. But now that I've straightened all that out, that's down to one OR statement, and then we got this variable cards all by itself. And if we look in there, that is only checking 50 and 76, which is 50 is that one that checks for the inventory to be empty, and 76 is the one that is one or the other. And it's not going to be both at the same time ever because of the way that I've set it up again. So I apologize for all the confusion we had earlier. And then over here I've done a similar thing because it was pulling out the values, and at one point I got a card mixed up, and yeah, so things got all out of whack. But I've straightened it all out and the system is working great now. So now at this point, when I point it at the top and say I want blank slates, it'll make me blank slates. And if I rotate it around there and then I come over and I make sure that I have at least 3,000 blood in here, which I don't think that's going to quite do it, but let me just gain a little bit back here real quick. But if I make sure that there's at least 3,000 blood in there, it will in fact, oh, still not quite enough. If only I could just pour my blood bottles in there, right? Let me get my bonus from the little sacrificial altar thing over here, and do another bite real quick. And oh, regen's not ready at all, but maybe this time. But there we go. Now we're over 3,000. You can see put a stone in there like it's supposed to, and it will eventually pull it out when it becomes an imbued slate. So again, guys, thank you so much. I apologize for just like cutting myself off there. I started to get a little bit rambly, and I decided that it would be best to just cut away and come back to the solution, and that is what it is. Now I'm just going to kind of mouse over some of this so you can kind of see. Hopefully if you need to figure out what I'm doing here, you can pause it and kind of look at all the values. But yeah, I tried to line these up, try to make it a little more easy for me to visually tell what's going on in here. And of course these actually need to move down a little bit because there's going to be 2 more rows of stuff going on right here as soon as I get another integer here and that. And I upgrade the altar quite a bit because we're going to need to put some more capacity in it, because I want it to be able to have the total amount of blood it takes to craft a demonic slate. Now demonic slate is 1,500. Actually, that's not too bad. So 15 plus 5, that'd be 20, plus another 3. So I need to be able to hold at least 23,000 blood in order to just go straight and craft a demonic slate. And then I want to put a bunch of speed runes on it too, because at that point it should be no problem, you know, because it's going to not put a thing in there until it is has enough blood to do the full craft. So it should be able to do it quite quickly. And yeah, we'll get our incense altar upgrade and stuff like that between episodes, and I'm going to upgrade this. I'll probably get it all the way to tier 4. Or if not, then I will at least get to the point where I can make the bound blades and stuff like that, so we can then upgrade this to tier 4. I'll get it to tier 3 for sure. Because it's already at 2. And the next one is just make a bunch of runes, and I'm going to upgrade these runes, and etc, etc, etc. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Wow, yeah, I know it kind of went long, and it was just a little bit rambly and a bit on the confusing side as far as math and logic and all that fun stuff goes. But if you did like it, I love that number. If you did like it, go ahead and hit that like button. And until next time, I will catch you later.